The key to difficult conversations is because there's some emotional elements involved and we're also feeling a bit polarized, is that it's really hard for people to dial in and really listen and understand the other person's perspective. Certainly in an organizational context, one of the very difficult conversations is giving performance feedback. And many managers worry about, is this going to help or is this actually going to hinder or worsen the relationship? And so what happens when difficult conversations aren't done well is you actually get a bad result and you worsen the relationship. And of course what happens then is people decide, you know what, I'm not even going to engage in that. And then the company loses or the organization loses because we're not having those conversations that we need to have. I think the first thing to do is really to examine what's happened in the past. So for example, we may have had previous conversations about this topic. What went on in those conversations? How was it handled? The second thing to do, of course, is take a look at the facts and make sure that you're correctly interpreting what is a fact and what's an assumption. And a lot of times when people take a look at their own story, they realize, you know what, I might be making some incorrect assumptions. Now the advantage of that, if you can do that is going to soften some of your negative emotions. Then once you get into the conversation, the key is to start with some goodwill. I call that do a good opening. And I always caution people, never get right into the meat of the issue. Instead, make sure that you're opening in a way that's mutually compatible, that talks about your intentions, and that also signals to the other person that your goal is to hear their story too. And so you need the maturity, the emotional discipline, if you will, that when you're into these conversations, focus on the other person first. Transparency and authenticity and honesty are important. It's very difficult to sometimes get to that place, but I really think it's only fair and only reasonable to give people honest feedback. And the key is to do it in a respectful way. So you've got to be a good listener before you can be a good talker.